A province in Canada is hiring foreigners directly, and I'm here to spill all the beans. So if being on a visa sponsorship or moving to Canada on a work permit has been on your radar, then this video is for you. Make sure you stick around. Hello and namaste, my name is Nidhi Nagori and welcome back to my channel. I'm a CA, CPA, CISA and I currently reside in Toronto, Canada. That's why I tend to produce a lot of content around Canada because this is my home country. I'm kind of well versed with immigration and what's going on and what are the new laws and what is it that each province is doing. And that's why I'm here to talk about an international recruitment fair that is being organized every month. It's being organized online and offline by a maritime province that's called New Brunswick. So in today's video, you and I are going to explore New Brunswick together. New Brunswick is the largest maritime provinces. Just so that you know, maritime provinces are the provinces that are on the east side of Canada. These were the provinces that were initially discovered. So these were like the first provinces to be discovered, and this is what actually became Canada. So this is where Canada actually started. And that's why I've always wanted to visit maritime provinces because there's so much history attached to it. If you've heard of cities like Moncton, St. John, Fredericton, then you've definitely heard or spoken about New Brunswick in that conversation of yours. So while New Brunswick is a very old province, it was one of the first few provinces to be discovered, it is a very small province when it comes to population. And that's why the provincial government is doing all of these fairs, all of these efforts are being put into getting immigrants into New Brunswick. The goal of these direct recruitment fairs is to help the New Brunswick employers meet potential candidates, whether they are in Canada or outside Canada. Even if you're living in Toronto, if you're visiting Canada, if you're living in Vancouver, Halifax, any of the bigger cities, then make sure that you at least go and check out on the different portals that you have if there's any in-person event, because I know New Brunswick is also doing a lot of in-person events. A couple of them recently happened in Toronto, and of course there are these online fairs as well, which you can attend from any part of the world. I actually have a success story that I'm going to pop up right here. I'd given this as a suggestion on my Instagram initially, and it worked for a lot of people. I'm putting this one DM up here, but I can tell you I got a lot of messages, and all that I'm saying is it's a very simple process. I'm going to take you through everything. Just do as I say, follow the instructions, follow this video, and you'll be good to go. But before we head to New Brunswick and do all the talking, I quickly want to take you through the various immigration pathways that exist in New Brunswick itself. Why is this important? Well, this is important for you to understand from a job seeker perspective because you need to understand that the provincial government really wants immigrants, and that's why they've launched multiple pathways so that they can take new immigrants in. It's definitely more than what Canada overall offers. So like the Canadian programs that you hear of, whether it's express entry, whether it's the skilled trade, whether it's the students coming in, so study route, etc. All of that is run by the federal government. But then all the provinces themselves also have their individual programs. New Brunswick happens to be one of the rare provinces that has a lot of programs. And who knows, while watching this video, you might realize that the online fair is not a good fit for you, and maybe there is some other pathway that is a better fit, and that might also work out for you. So let's together head to the provincial government website. Now, this is what the provincial government website looks like on New Brunswick. This is hosted by the government of New Brunswick. For anything related to immigration, anytime you're thinking of moving across countries, I highly recommend you only trust the immigration websites that are being hosted by the local government or by the federal government. Do not trust websites that are hosted by, say, experts. Don't even trust me for that matter, because I try to take all my information from the government website so that I know that I'm always up to date. You want to stay up to date on this matter if you're very serious about taking your career global. So on the provincial government website, I see a variety of pathways. Let's quickly talk through each of them. The first one is New Brunswick Skilled Worker Stream. This was actually the pathway that was launched so that these employers who are in New Brunswick can meet foreigners, can meet foreign talent and get them on the work permit. So if you were to go through the international fair or like the recruitment fair, which we will talk about later in this video, then this is the pathway that you will eventually move on. So you can see New Brunswick literally has a dedicated pathway, a separate pathway to hire foreigners. Just so that you know, this does not need any LMIA, no IELTS, nothing. All that you need is an employer who's willing to offer you an employment offer or like have a job ready for you. The second pathway that I see is the New Brunswick Express Entry. This is the provincial nomination. I think this has been on pause since May 2022, but I will update the pinned comment or somewhere in the description box just in case if it has restarted. The third pathway that we see is the truck driver pathway. I just want to clear some misconceptions out here. So dignity of labor is very big in the West. And these jobs like being a truck driver, being a construction worker, being in any trade basically actually pays pretty well, sometimes even more than a regular corporate life. So if you were to be a truck driver here, and if you know somebody who potentially wants to move here, wants to be a truck driver, don't underestimate them at all. Just that you know, truck drivers sometimes have salaries of 80,000 plus. Most of them actually start off with a six-figure salary. But it needs a lot of local licensing, which again, most provincial governments have put in funds into. Even Ontario has a program. So New Brunswick has a program. They will train you for free, they will get you a job, and then you're on the job. But obviously, you must know that these are physically very, very tedious, and you should only go in if you kind of understand what's on table. The fourth pathway that we see here is the business immigration. This is for people who are freelancers, entrepreneurs, people with creative ideas. What I like about New Brunswick is that they don't have any funding requirement. You can send your proposal to the government, and if they like it, you can then move and set up your business. This is very, very different. When you compare it to not just Canada, but also other countries, you realize that this is not something that's available anywhere else. In fact, apart from Ireland, I cannot think of any country that allows immigrants to move as entrepreneurs without any funding. So I like that about NB, the fact that you can send a proposal, and if it is accepted, of course, you have to be somebody who, is solvent and has decent savings, etc. Like, you should not be somebody who absolutely has nothing to contribute and just wants to move. But this does not need massive funding. You know how they typically have a baseline of $50,000 or $100,000. That's like the minimum that I'm talking about. This is not something that needs that. So you send your proposal. As long as your proposal is good for New Brunswick, it's innovative enough, you will get an invite under the stream. The next pathway is the French speakers pathway. Just so that you know, New Brunswick is the only Canadian province that has English and French as their official language. The next pathway is a unique pathway that only applies to 4 provinces in Canada. This is the Atlantic Immigration Program. It was initially started as a pilot a couple of years ago, and now it has become a full program. So there are 2 ways to come under this. You can either come in as a graduate, so like as a student, as an international student in any of these 4 provinces, and you will be eligible. This is like getting a PR here. Or you can get a job in any of these 4 provinces. There are AIP designated employers, which is Atlantic Immigration Program designated employers. There are more than 700 of these employers that can sponsor you under this pathway. Again, no LMIA, this is not even a work permit, this is literally getting a PR. There is a list of more than 700 employers. We've already covered it in our Canada Masterclass. If you haven't accessed it, I'll leave a link in the description box down below for you. Go check it out. We have more than 120,000 jobs that are literally available in different provinces, and we kind of give you a lot of detailed insight. More on that later. Let's stick to New Brunswick for now. The last pathway is a new pilot that has been introduced very recently. This is the Private Career College Graduate Pathway. This is for select 1 or 2 year programs where international students will get a direct permanent status in New Brunswick as long as they are in a high demand occupation like cybersecurity, IT, healthcare, etc. I'm sure by looking at all of this, you're already aware of how ready New Brunswick is to hire foreigners. And to be fair to them, they do have decent opportunities. The cost of living is way lower and the salaries are fair because the taxes are lower, and so your purchasing power automatically increases. The only con that I can think of is that it's definitely colder and it's not Toronto or Vancouver, so you're going to miss the big city vibe. But that can be your personal choice. For now, let's head to the International Recruitment Fair. As I already mentioned, these fairs are organized in person and online. And these are places where potential New Brunswick employers can meet potential candidates who are international candidates typically, of course not Canadians, because Canadians can anytime apply. So these are very international recruitment fairs. Even if you happen to be visiting Canada, say you're on a tourist visa, this is a fair that you can definitely go to. I know they were recently in Toronto, then they were recently in Vancouver. A couple of cities actually do this, and a couple of provinces have these typical fairs in multiple cities. But if you're not in Canada, make sure you sign up for the online recruitment fair. It's very simple. I went to the website and I actually saw there's a fair that's coming up for November 2022. Right next to that, I see a sign up button. This is where you need to click, and this is where you will be directed to make your profile. Now, this is a very simple process. No LMIA, no IELTS, nothing. All that you need is an employment letter. And we already discussed about how flexible the New Brunswick skilled worker stream is. The government is very willing to help employers to get foreigners. That's why they're even organizing these events. And that's why you can expect minimum questions being asked, or how the visa rejection rates have gone up, particularly when it comes to Canada. Not something that you would experience here. Now comes the important thing. When you're setting up your profile, make sure you have a good resume and a good LinkedIn. I have a free masterclass on CV resume. You can see it up on screen right now. Head to my website right away and access the free CV resume masterclass. It'll give you some very good tips about, how is it that you structure your resume, especially when you're looking for global opportunities. So you can take some tips from there and customize your resume accordingly. I also have a LinkedIn masterclass. I'll link it in the description box below, so please go check it out. Take some help. Do not go and create a profile it's not worth looking at. You want to make sure that your profile is exactly who you are. It is screaming who you are as a professional, and you want to make sure all your qualities, all your knowledge, all your experience is out there. So if you're confused, please make sure you take help from my resources. Over 13,000 learners have already done that, and we have so many success stories. Once you've signed up, your profile is now visible to all the New Brunswick employers who are a part of this recruitment fair. Now, whether you attend the fair online or not doesn't really matter, but I still recommend that you attend because you will get to network and you'll get a lot of internal insight. So yes, that's it. It's that simple. If you feel like you're eligible under different streams or other streams that we spoke about, please make sure that you go and read on that. If not, if you're interested in just this online recruitment fair, I'm leaving the link on the screen. Please make sure you go check it out, sign up, create your profile. It's a very simple process. Go ahead and do all of that. And obviously keep in mind to not upload a random resume or a random LinkedIn link. You want to make sure everything is up to date and you are selling yourself as the star employee that you are. Now, if you are looking for a work permit in Canada, please make sure you check out our Canada Work Permit Masterclass. We recently did that and we had 3 mentors, all of who moved on work permit into Canada, and they tell you exactly how to do it. The link and everything that you need to know about any of the masterclasses or my website is in the description box or in the pinned comment. So make sure you check it out. On that note, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure you hit the like button down below and subscribe to the channel. Let me know what else you'd like to see on my channel. And in case you attend these online recruitment fairs, please keep me posted on how your journey goes. I promise to see you in the next video. Until then, make sure you take care of yourself. Stay safe. Namaste.